I walked through a county courthouse square. On a park bench, an old man was sitting there. I said, "Your courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "Nah, it'll do for our little town." I said, "Your old flagpole is leaned a little bit. That's a ragged old flag you got hanging on it." He said, "Have a seat." And I sat down. "Is this the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "I think it is." And he said,
"Son, I don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of that ragged old flag. You see, we got a little hole in that flag there when Washington took it across the Delaware. It got powder burned the night Francis Scott Key sat watching it. Right and say, can you see? It got a bad rip in New Orleans with Pakenham and Jackson tugging at its seams, and it almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag. But she waved on, though. She got cut with a sword at Chancellorsville. She got cut again at Shiloh Hill, and there was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg, and the south wind blew hard on that ragged old flag. On Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a Bertha gun. She turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low a time or two. She was in Korea, Vietnam, over our warriors fighting in the desert sands. She waved from our ships upon the briny foam, and now they about quit waving it back here at home. In her own good land, she's been abused, she's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused. And the government for which she stands is scandalized throughout the land. And she's getting threadbare and she's wearing thin, but she's in mighty good shape for the shape she's in. Because we've been through the fire before, and I believe she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning. We take her down slow every night. And we don't let her touch the ground. And we always fold her up right. On second thought, son, I do like to brag. 'Cause I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag.
As we learned in elementary school, our U.S. flag, also known as our national colors, represents our great country. Today, along with our main flag hanging center court, we have over 1,200 individual American flags graciously donated by the Laurie Margaret Grimm Legion Post 441. The stars and stripes illustrate three distinct colors that all characterize our country: red for hardiness and bravery, white for hope and purity, blue for loyalty, vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Staff, students, community members, and veterans, at this time, we ask for those that are able to please stand, to please rise and remove your hats. that our veterans and current service members have made, we must take a moment and remember those that cannot be with us here today. This morning, at the front of the gymnasium, sits an empty chair to remind us of those brave individuals who have passed on. Upon that empty chair sits a flag folded into a triangle, a symbol of our great nation. A red rose also sits upon that chair to signify the blood that many veterans have shed to ensure our freedoms.
Good morning, veterans, guests, teachers, staff, and students. A special welcome to our middle school students joining us this morning for the assembly. Welcome to the high school. This year marks the 100th anniversary of the ending of World War I and the creation of this national holiday by Woodrow Wilson back in 1918. We are excited to be celebrating this event with all of you, and we thank you for coming to our assembly to recognize and honor our local veterans, our heroes. I am Connor Evans, a senior and a sergeant with the Wood County Sheriff's Office Explorer Program, as well as a member of the National Honor Society. Along with me is Sadie Helper, a fellow senior. She is an FFA member and president of our National Honor Society. The two of us will be your masters of ceremonies today. We welcome many guests today, especially our veterans. I would also like to acknowledge these people in attendance: Superintendent Adam Cook, Board Member Judy Snyder, and J.D. Cooley from the Sentinel. With us today are not just veterans, but several veterans groups, students, faculty, and staff. Can you please welcome Grand Rapids VFW Post 4984, Weston Legion Post number 409, Grand Rapids Legion Post number 232, and Tantagona Legion Post number 441.
I would now like to introduce high school junior Michael Cox. Michael will be reading a poem written by an Antigua student entitled, What Am I? The poem helps us better understand the level of respect and support we should all show towards our national colors and our veterans. Please welcome to the podium junior Michael Cox.
At dawn and dusk, I'm raised and lowered. Each day, allegiance is pledged. I've been ripped, burned, defiled, and rejected. Oh, what a shape I'm in. Every football, baseball, and soccer game, my people watch me gallantly wave. But sometimes it's not all about me. What I represent is not just country. I represent the people, ideas, cultures, and beliefs. What a great feeling it is to be free. I'd like to thank my military folks for their courage when we needed it most. For the Gold Star families that lost it all, a husband, wife, son, or daughter. Not just one life is affected when a service member dies. So join me in saying, will you please rise? Thank you.
At this time, we would like to welcome the Otsego Men's Quartet members, Will Hagan, Kel Homer, Trevor Hawk, and Ian Wallace to perform God Bless the USA.
Tomorrow all the things we're Minnesota, to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, and there's pride in every American's heart, and it's time we stand and say, I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA.
What is a veteran? This is a frequently asked question that not very many know the answer to. They are citizens that fulfilled one of their civic duties, that is, to serve their country when needed. Some volunteered, while some were called. Some were uniformed for 6 months, others for several years, and others for 30 years or more. They all put their needs of their country ahead of their own. Some may have sacrificed time, others injuries, and some made the ultimate sacrifice, their lives, for us and our country. Veterans are just like you and me, but someone who, at one point, wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America for any amount up to and including their life.
Too often, I think students really do not understand or believe the phrase, freedom is not free. Truly, there have been times when our country was in jeopardy, when our freedoms may have been lost. Soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines serve their country. They don't make national policy, they don't make the political decisions, they don't decide when to go to war or not, but they stand ready to fulfill the needs of whatever our country asks. On this day, across this great country and throughout the world, men, women, and children, people of all races and creeds, will pause to honor our brave servicemen and women. They, for more than 240 years, have underwritten our freedom by their duty, honor, and selfless service.
Currently, there are roughly 2.3 million men and women in uniform. According to the 2010 census, the population of the United States is nearly 309 million, meaning that less than 1% of the country's population are members of the military. While only a fraction of a percent of the country's population is currently serving, 7% of the population are veterans. In fact, there are roughly 23 million veterans in America today.
We will now present a short video depicting veterans and current servicemen and women. We are especially excited to include in this year's video many local veterans, either still in service, retired, or deceased, that attended either Grand Rapids, Washington Township, Weston, Pascagoula, Garcia. In our comments, many of these servicemen and women's pictures can also be found on our Military Wall of Fame, as well as a tribute to our very own 1997 Otsego High School graduate and Medal of Honor recipient, Senior Chief Edward Byers. The main goal of our veterans video is to pay tribute to the local men and women who heroically served our country. The United States has two holidays to honor the armed forces: Memorial Day, which takes place in May, and Veterans Day in November. Please take a moment to think about this. We often think of veterans as older men and women, but the average age of an Iraqi war veteran is 30. The older veterans you see before you today served our country not as you see them today, but when they were in the prime of their lives, looking more like a high school or college senior.
This is for the ones who heard the fight for freedom calling, and for the ones who answered, I'll do what I can. For the ones who ran to battle, who believed that freedom mattered, well, this is for you. And this is for the ones whose orders took them to the front line, and for the ones who fell and never made it home, and for the ones who came back broken with memories too hard to be spoken. This is for you. We remember, and we are thankful, we are grateful, but we know freedom isn't free. Oh, we remember, the gift you gave, the price you paid, it's not in vain, and it will never be forgotten, 'cause we remember. And this is for the ones whose war was wandering and waiting, and for the moms and dads and families back at home, and those with pictures by their beds who had to learn to live again. Oh, this is for you. We remember, we are thankful and we are grateful, 'cause we know freedom isn't free. Oh, we remember, yes, we remember the gift you gave, the price you paid, it's not in vain, and it will never be forgotten. And we remember every time we chase our dreams, or pray out loud, or speak our mind, and even when we disagree, oh, we remember. And though sometimes we've lost our way, we're still the land of the free and the home of the brave. And we remember, and we are thankful, and we are grateful, we know freedom isn't free. Oh, we remember, and we remember the gift you gave, the price you paid, it's not in vain.
United States military is comprised of 5 distinct branches: the Air Force, the Army, the Coast Guard, the Marine Corps, and the Navy. At this time, the Eseco High School Band, under the direction of Mr. Dugler, will play the service song for each branch of the United States military. Veterans, to recognize you, please stand at your seats when your service song is played. United States Marine Corps.
At this time, we would like to welcome to the podium today's guest speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Dave Atkinson. Lieutenant Colonel Atkinson enlisted with the 180th Fighter Wing, Ohio Air National Guard in 1991 as a non-destructive inspection specialist. He has participated in multiple operations, including Operation Northern Watch, Iraqi Freedom, Noble Eagle, Enduring Freedom, as well as Hurricane Katrina, Maria, and Sandy relief missions. He has been awarded the Air National Guard Flight Safety Officer of the Year Award, and his office has won the Air National Guard Safety Office of the Year Award. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Atkinson.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to say thank you to the Otsego District, staff, and volunteers for giving me the opportunity and honor of speaking today. Most people in this gym do not know how uncommon an event like this is in the United States and in the world. This event takes planning, selfless dedication, and hard work to put together. Many students will never be exposed to or given the opportunity to experience and learn the concept of service before self and putting their life in danger to protect others. This is the key concept of why we're here today, honoring the men and women who stand to defend all those who need protection. To illustrate this, I would like all police officers in the audience to stand. I would like all firefighters in the audience to stand. I would like anyone in any job that puts their life in danger to protect others, including military. Please stand. All military members, go ahead and stand if you can. The people before you are not perfect people, and they have the struggles, the same as every person in this gym. However, one key difference in their lives is they have sworn to help others, even if it means giving their life to the cause. Now I would like all the family and friends of those individuals to stand. These are the people who worry when a work shift begins and breathe a sigh of relief when their loved ones make it home safely. Because in this line of work, there are no guarantees of returning home safely. Remember how I said these people are not perfect? But they are the ones who have to make split-second life and death decisions, sometimes at night and even by themselves. They have to rely on the training they've received and are expected to know in every situation at a moment's notice what to do. So to you, I say thank you, and I pray to Jesus that you have peace in your heart with the decisions you are forced to make. Please, let's have a round of applause for these individuals. Now I'd like to introduce myself. My name is David Atkinson. I'm a 27-year member of the Air Force Guard Reserve. I started my journey 27 years ago in aircraft maintenance at the 180th Fighter Wing in Toledo, Ohio. Then transitioned to Mansfield, Air National Guard, flying C-130s, and now I am a C-17 pilot and a squadron commander for the Air Force Reserve at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Dayton, Ohio. Today we'll talk very little about me, and we'll concentrate on what I'm truly passionate about, helping younger generations excel. You see, this is a time I never wanted to happen. I am no longer the younger airman I once was. The airmen of today are you and your generation. However, an airman never gives up on what he loves. He finds a way to love what he does. And now I'm living this transition and passionate about teaching the next generation of warriors. I can guarantee you that when I fly around the world wearing this uniform, that whether or not another country likes the United States Air Force or dislikes the United States Air Force, they respect us because we are America's Air Force and no Air Force comes close. I would like this tradition to continue. Okay, so let's start with the true meaning of the speech. Your school's motto is to be an everyday hero. But how do we achieve this? Today, I will pass on concepts I have observed throughout life, which have helped myself and others navigate life's everyday issues to become an everyday hero. If you remember anything from today, I want you to remember, find it, fail at it, and succeed at it. So what is it? That's the hardest part. In my opinion, nobody knows exactly what it is. Throughout life, you're told to navigate problems and succeed. I really wish that I or anybody in this school could tell you a foolproof way to succeed at any moment. If I could, I would do this. But life is like a sport. There's no golden play that always achieves victory. You will pay for your failures, but if you find it and have the courage to persevere, you will succeed in life's toughest moments. First, I would suggest find it at home. When I was growing up, I noticed my father's endless hours of hard work. So I found it, hard work. I tried to do it, hard work, but I failed. I did not know the level of hard work that was required to be an Air Force pilot. And my high school grades were adequate, but not at the level they needed to be an Air Force pilot. So from that day forward, I succeeded by putting the hard work in required to be an Air Force pilot. I would also tell everyone to embrace the hard work required and not to dread it. The journey of achieving your goals should be the reward. I yearn for the daily grind. I was never the smartest. I was never the best leader. I had to rely on hard work and grit. So if you want to be an everyday hero, find it, hard work. The next it I found was from my mom, and it was dream big. My mother was the ultimate dreamer. She taught me to do anything. If I said I couldn't achieve a dream, she made me do it. I failed the first time in my dream, interviewing for a pilot position and not being selected. But I realized my dream the second time. I will warn you that the pure concentration required to dream big is not for everyone. But if you want to be an everyday hero, find it and dream big. The next place I would look for it is school. And just like this school, I found it, service before self. The teachers and coaches and faculty and everyone at this school put their service to you before themselves. They go to incredible lengths to provide for you and help you succeed. So yes, I found service before self, but I failed at this at Officers Training School. I received 100% on the test while I was the commander of our flight, while 4 people failed. The commanders pulled me in a room, and they yelled at me. I was not sure at the time my name had been changed to a 4-letter curse word, and they reminded me of how much I let the team down. But I eventually became successful, and I overcame this by becoming a squadron commander. So if you want to be an everyday hero, learn service before self. The next place I found it was my wife. Her it is servant leadership. She was never in the world spotlight fighting wars. Instead, she fought the wars behind the scenes. As I traveled the world after September 11th, fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq, she took care of her home and kids as a single parent. As I went from mission to mission, gone for at least 2 years, she was and still is a servant leader at our home. So to my wife, Pam, I say thank you. Too many times, I failed as a servant leader, trying to solve problems by myself. Now I succeed as a servant leader by relying on her servant leadership. So if you want to be an everyday hero, rely on other servant leaders and find someone to share your life with, someone who helps you be the best you can be. The next place to look for it is our community. And this community definitely has it. And that it is support. Mr. Piner, please stand up. Mr. Piner was in the 180th Fighter Wing when I joined 27 years ago, but I looked more like everybody in the stands here. And if anybody ever knew Mr. Piner, he had a unique smile and a joke that always was there to support you. And I definitely wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him and other people at the 180th Fighter Wing that always encouraged me to succeed. And he still gives me updates on all our old buddies throughout the 180th. So I say thank you, and I want to shake your hand. I can never repay this community for his constant source of support and encouragement. For taking my kids to practice when I'm gone, taking my kids to Boy Scouts, the faculty helping my kids while I'm gone. I have seen this community rise up and come together to cheer on sports teams, help others, provide for those less fortunate, and be a strength to others in the face of tragedy and adversity. Give yourself a round of applause. So if you want to be an everyday hero, find it, support. Lastly, I have found it through my children, Emily, Owen, and Allison. Their it is sharing. I know they've missed me at times, and they ask when Dad is coming home. But they have always willingly shared their time with the Air Force. In turn, I've tried to do my best to always share my time at home with them. And I'll also add in this little bit of ad-lib, just for a little bit of inspiration for all the students here. I really, truly do try to share my time as a squadron commander with all the young individuals in our squadron. If you want to take an example of your generation having it, some people say, the younger generation doesn't have it. I see examples of it all the time. In 1 year time period, in one squadron in the Air Force Reserve, which there's thousands of squadrons, I've had Sergeant Bellarive, not sure what he wanted to do, joined the Air Force Reserve, went to school, did an outstanding job, and we helped him. He is now selected, and he's going to be a doctor. He's going through the Air Force medical program. I have Sergeant Dobbs, who's Special Forces. He's a SEER instructor in our squadron. He went to school. Same thing, didn't know what he wanted to do. Went to school, got his bachelor's degree, finished that, and he wanted to be in the FBI. He got his master's degree, and he's with the FBI in Columbus now. And Sergeant Madeline Pike, she had a dream of being a paralegal, and she didn't work involved, and now she is a paralegal with the Air Force. That's one squadron, like I said, 1 year. And we also have another individual who wants to be a pilot, and I'm trying to help to become a pilot in the Air Force. I'll tell you the same as I tell every single person, and my kids won't even want to hear this because they hear it all the time. If you want to do something great, and people ask me, how do I achieve this? How do I do this? I tell them I can't tell you. Just like this. I don't know what it is. I can tell you different ways of trying to achieve it. But the one thing I can tell you is the secret's in the dirt. If you're not willing to get down and get dirty and put the hard work in, it's not going to happen. So always remember that. I could go on and on about it, but we have a schedule to keep. So in closing, I would like to say, don't be afraid to fail. I pointed out a lot of my failures, and we live in a digital age where you can beat yourself up. Because any accomplishment you achieve, you can Google it and find somebody who's done it better in less than 1 minute. So find it, hard work, dream big, service for self, servant leadership, support, sharing times with others, and whatever it is that you learn along the way. Know that life is not fair. You will fail often. But if you take some risk, step up when times are toughest, and use the hits you've learned, you will be happy with life and be an everyday hero. For the end of the speech, I wanted to share an example of an everyday hero. It comes from Martin Treptow, who left his job in a barbershop in 1917 to join the Rainbow Division of France. There, on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message under heavy artillery fire. We are told that on his body, on a flyleaf with the heading, "My Pledge," he had wrote these words: "America must win this war. Therefore, I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully, and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. I believe that we must realize that there is no arsenal or no weapon so formidable as the will and moral courage of everyday heroes. It is a weapon that the United States has and our adversaries don't. There's no better example of an everyday hero than a small town barbershop barber that I can think of. So, let's give a round of applause to Martin Chupdow and all of the veterans, to the Otsego Knights, One Heartbeat, Go Knights, and to my fellow airmen, fly, fight, and win, always. make a couple comments though. First of all, you know, a lot happened there at the beginning, and I want to first of all thank our technology director, Luke Swartz, and the team of people that were back there trying to get that fixed and worked out. But, you know, a lesson comes from what happened before we started this ceremony. You know, when you take the time, students, to get to know some of the men and women who are sitting in front of you and some of the things that they've experienced in their lives through the military and the sacrifices that they've made, you know, when you're back working with little technology glitches, you kind of find a little bit of, you know, gravity in the sense that maybe we shouldn't panic or lose our cool a little bit, because there's men and women here who have stories that are far worse than a few speakers blowing and trying to figure that out. And, you know, I've always said since we started this Veterans Day Assembly, you know, we really serve two purposes when we're here. Number one is to, of course, honor the service and sacrifice of our veterans and their families, and I can't thank you enough for that. But the second thing, and just as important in my opinion in the position that I hold, is to use this as a teaching moment for our faculty, our students, and staff. And that is to be able to look at a veteran, to be able to look at our flag, and to be a member of this country, and to show respect to how we got here, to the men and women that helped us get to where we are today, and to use today as a teaching tool so that we continue to bring up a generation of students that understand what it has taken to get here. And that will always be something that we try to do here at Otsego. And so students, you know, when you look at the veterans in front of you, when you look at the flag, and you see the chaos sometimes that are in the world, when you see people who want to kneel during the national anthem, and you see the political discourse that's going on and the debates that rage, I want you to remember the lessons that you learned when you're in this building, that is an important symbol in our country. That the people that sit in front of you sacrifice a lot to get us where we are today. And that's why that debate and that argument holds so much fervor with so many people. And so we're going to continue to look at you and teach you the value of being an American. And there was a great debate this weekend with our president and the media about the difference between nationalism and patriotism, which I found incredibly intriguing. And, you know, this is a great patriotic moment for us. A moment for us to celebrate our veterans, to celebrate our nation, and the work that it took to get us to where we are. Democracy, the fact that people can participate in their government, and the ideals that we fight for, that's patriotism. None of us are sitting here this morning telling anyone else out in the world that we're somehow better than everyone else. We're simply saying that the way we do things and our beliefs and the cores and the values that we hold, that we sacrifice and fight for, are the best way to move forward. And we will continue to fight and fight for those ideals. And that's patriotism, guys. That's the pride that we have in our country and the men and women who sit in front of you. So one last time, I just ask, you know, again, I thank you guys so humbly for coming to this event, allowing us to honor your service and sacrifice. And I just ask that we one last time have a resounding thank you and applause from the men and women sitting in front of you.